Good morning and slightly in the afternoon. Judy Allen here, Stampin' Up with San Antonio, Texas here. And today we're going to show you how to take a oops and we're going to make it into something, all right? So this wouldn't be the first time this has happened, right? But I'm going to show you how and what I do with it, right? I learned from sewing. I had a friend, Terry, who owned a sew shop, and she moved away since with creative sewing. And her motto was always, you never messed up. It was an opportunity for creativity. And I know in the sewing world, it always held true. It's like you end up creating something more beautiful than you originally intended. So today I'm going to do the same thing with paper. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to land and fall when it gets through, but I know it's going to be better off than what it is now. And I want to show you how to do that. It all came about by making gifts. I'm finishing up gifts that have to be either delivered or sent out tomorrow, right? So let's go to the hands. Let me show you where it's going and show you how it comes about, all right? Everybody always wants to know how I did it, how did I come up with an idea, and sometimes it just evolves, right? So these are the gifts I've been making. And these are actually post-it note holders. I'm waiting. I got something else going to be put on the inside of this here. But this is what they are. They look the same, right? They're all just a little bit different. So yes, if you like doing the $35 or more and you get this, go and buy and get $35 worth of product and you get a free kit, one of these would be in the free kit for you to make, or I might make it for you. I haven't decided on that part yet. Okay, so but these gifts are already made for other people, and I just wanted to show you because this is where it all began. I was busy, and I'll show you why. So this is oops, just threw that away. So this is what I made, right? This is how I started out. Well, what happened is this piece here was supposed to go on top of the piece for the post-it note. And I was so task-oriented that I totally forgot that I had the post-it note to still put on. Because, see, I put the stand here, and I was going to put a stand on here, but I realized I made it, and then the other thing that became a challenge is, well, when I put my post-it note on here, post-it note's a 3x3. Well, this piece here wasn't going to be large enough at all for my post-it note. So instead of covering it, and I couldn't get my corners rounded because I'd already put it together. So when I sit there, I have a punch that I can sit and punch through it. But because of the thickness of this, I couldn't get it to go through. So that was my other opportunity for creativity. We've got this piece right back here. I've got it as railroad board as my directions, but it's a little bit thinner than that. I'll tell you what I've used is in paper pumpkin. We have these that come here. These work really great. But you have to do just this when you go to punch it, right? Because when you add the layers to it, it becomes thick and hard to even do. So I use that, and then also on the back of the white cardstock and all, you can get that as well too. So what are we going to do to get this and create it? Well, this I measured is going to be, it's square. I already know it's a square. So it's 4 by 4. It's a little less than 4 by 4. Okay, or a little bit more than 4 by 4 by the time I get through it. Well, right at. So one of the things I'm going to do is I actually pulled some paper, but one of the things I want to do is I wanted to also resize this, take this blue off. We're going to use blue behind here, but I want to get that off because it looked like it had too much layers to it. So just to help us get going, I went ahead and pulled some pieces together because I already know I want this to be a card. I already know what I want to put on it, per se, because I've been doing a lot of stuff with the Otterly Suite, right? The Otterly Amazing Suite. As you can see, this was a whole pad of paper, and so this is all I have left. I've just been using it. It goes with a lot of different colors, from balmy blue to basic gray, clips of coral, crumb cake, early espresso, garden green, gray granite, lemon lime twist, Lost Lagoon, old olive, compi, pool party, and pretty peacock. So it goes with a lot of colors, right? So I have options. So I went ahead and I just measured some things out because you know what, we can create our own cards. If you saw me on Stampin' with Nana or Teach Me Nana, I sat there and made my own slimline card on Friday. So we're going to make our own card here. I'm just trying to get perspective, right? Because this here would be a 5 by 5, right? And you say, well, we don't have our cards envelopes like that. No, we don't. So you'd have to get a different envelope, right? This is 5.5 by 5.5. And there's a reason why I'm showing you this, okay? Because I can make this a card. I can make this into a 6x6, and still I have envelopes that I can make I can mail a 6x6 card. Now the reason why I sort of like the 6x6, that's a little big, and this is a 5.5 by 5.5. Well, because as I'm thinking about this, and I'm going to make a card for someone, I'm thinking I'm going to get a twofer out of this. I'm going to make a card out of this, and when you're through with it, I can turn around and put it in a frame. So that's the thing I'm thinking of, is I can turn around and put this in a frame. So that's why I'm trying to decide. I also have some leftover pieces from my creating. So here was one, right? So there's the other things. I really wanted to use these. So I was thinking if I had something that was just a little bit bigger, I could easily put something like this right here to the side, right? And just have it right there to the side. So that sort of gives me an idea of what kind of size I have to have, right? If I want to be able to use this as well, then I'm going to have something bigger. And it gives me options also, because I really didn't want to plaster a sentiment across here. Maybe I could do it across there. We have options. But the main thing is get to the size first that we want to work with, right? So my thoughts was either 5x5 or a 6x6. Let me show you the 6x6 again. Yeah, so some of this, so these, the two here were actually die cut out, and the others I had to hand cut out. So that's what that would be. That'd be a 6x6. I know you can easily get a 6x6 frame, but you know, the one of the things I would tell you that even if you wanted to do the 5x5.25, then fine. You want to size it up to frame it to a 6x6, and just put another piece of type of paper behind here, right? I could easily come back and put this paper here behind here, and just give it an extra little pop as well, or a different color or anything else. All right, so I'm going to start with this because I got a couple of options already with this, and I know this is my way I can fall back on it, okay? So I'm going to show you. We're going to cut this down then to, this is why I wrote these on here, because we can cover them up when we go and put the stuff over. This is a 5.5 by 5.5. So the nice thing about a 5.5 by 5.5 is I can use your standard 8.5 by 11 paper, right? Slide, that's going to all slide there. Yep. All right, so let me cut this down to 5.5. Oh, no, I don't. I'm going to do a 5.5 it's this way, okay? Because I need to be able to fold it in half. If I'm going to do a card, I got to fold it in half, right? So I need it 5.5 this way. See, I had to think about it, because otherwise I was going to have another opportunity for creativity, right? So if you're like me right now, we're all crazy busy, right? I still have, I don't know about you, but I still have Christmas cards to do. I still have some shopping to do, because we've done a little shopping. And I have all the meal planning for next week ready, but I still have shopping, and I still have gift wrapping, and I still have Christmas cards. So Christmas cards have sort of moved up on the list, because I know Zoe loves to shop, so I know we can always do craft shopping if we have to. For gifts, right? All right, Amazon's my friend too. So this is the reason why I was going to cut off this blue. See, when I put it right here, I would say it doesn't really add anything to it. So I was just going to trim off this extra layer of blue here and just have the darker right here. I just think it would look better. So that's what I'm going to do. And just to show you how you can cut through this, you just have to put a little pressure and patience, right? So I'm just going to sort of line this up right here. And I'm believing, start on this side first. Okay, so I can actually see, so if, I don't know if you can see, but the blade right here in the center is going to show me sort of what color, where I'm at. So I'm just going to line up my, call it like a teal blue, but it's like Pretty Peacock ready. And I can see it through here, so I'm just making sure the Pretty Peacock lines up with this right here, okay? And then all I'm going to do, because this is my cutting one, I'm just going to go back and forth a couple of times. And you see how it's worked its way through that, so I need to move over just a little bit more. You see how it's going to tear. So if I was doing this through the regular board, and that's how I cut mine to begin with, I actually just came right here and used this. Now granted, I am sitting down. And originally when I was doing it, I was standing up. See, I'm trying to get not to get too close. You see how it's like sort of tearing it off and getting at it, but it's not really quite got it. Whereas if I was actually sitting up there and when I did this originally, it wasn't an issue, right? I just sort of get it back and forth until I get it off. Now I do have some kitchen scissors that would go through this quite nicely. But these little scissors are a little bit more challenging, right? So it's one of those things, it's whatever you can do. Hello, Bertner. Do you have all your shopping done yet and all? And Christmas cards done? You're not the Lone Ranger if you have not, because I have not either. That's gotta... Greg's trying to help, but, you know, he has some limits. There we go. All right, now see, I just want to get that as much off as I can. And I'm going to do the same thing. Now, in this particular case, if I felt I did not, when I sit there and design this, I only have 1/8 of an inch, right? It's not like I have a whole lot there. I just have 1/8 of an inch. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put this here. 1/8 of an inch to spare, right? So it's not like I got a whole lot here. Because it was just enough to pick up the colors, right? I just wanted to accent the colors. Let's see if I can cut through with this. I don't think I can because I tried this originally. We're just going to go through here and do it. At least we'll weaken it this way. And finish it off with the scissors. But originally, like I said, all you got to do is take this board here and do that. And it'll weaken it. So we're just going to trim it off. But you can see how hard it is with the regular scissors. Like I said, I have some kitchen scissors that'll actually cut through a penny. And that's why I bought them, because somebody showed me, demoed to me how that I could cut through a penny, and I thought I need that. Not that I need to cut through a penny in my kitchen, right? But I can tell you, before I got those scissors, how many kitchen scissors we went through on an annual basis, because it would break, right? Well, these have never broken, and I went back and got a second pair. Because somebody decided they were going to use them in my garden and tree limbs, small tree limb type stuff and all. And I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to deal with that in the kitchen too. So, got another pair, right? And they come in so handy for so many things. So I was just trying to get some of this bulk off, right? Because that's not where my attention's at. My attention is, I wanted that really the other blue. Aw, I'm sorry. She's 100 and... I know she's over 100. That's very hard during the weekends and during the holidays. So we're gonna go ahead and just trim this off here. Now see how this one here it didn't soften it up, so it's definitely much harder to use my scissors. And in fact, I'm really concerned now is by the time I get through is how's my scissors going to cut paper. Better cut really good. Now it's a good thing I have spare ones. Okay, so I got all the blue off, and you're going to see how it's just going to make the other pop real easy, okay? It doesn't matter. I just want this blue. I just want this here. This is Pretty Peacock, which is the background. For a minute, I thought I cut my fingernail. Those scissors are sharp, so be careful. So I can either go this way or this way, right? It's just whatever I want to accent. Still have a little bit of blue that I didn't want. So I'm just going to trim it down. So I already know who I'm going to give this to. And I already know, after I've been thinking about it, that I am going to make it into a display. Once they get it, and they get it, the sentiment and everything and all. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this on here just like this. And I'm going to just use glue. You're going to have to use glue or some kind of 3D adhesive, right? Because this is heavy. Wow. And you have been a faithful daughter-in-law, too. All right. So we're going to put this right here. Now see, this gives me options now. Like I was saying earlier, it gives me options. Because I really like this here when I cut it out. Now we're going to have to figure out something here. So the thing is we actually have fish. So I'm actually just going to, or even bubbles. Let's do the bubbles. So we're just going to add a little bit of something because it just seems a little lonesome there by itself. We're going to put a sentiment and everything else. And, you know, when you sit there and have leftover items, it's always about what can you do with leftover items, right? So that's what I was doing. So we're just going to create these little bubbles. And I brought 2 colors just so you can see what it looks like. I glued that down already. Did. Okay. So I'm going to test it on the inside here. And the reason why it doesn't bother me to test this on the inside is because this is going to be covered, okay? So if you think I lost it sometimes when I do this, and I lost it all right, but it wasn't because of this. It's like there's only so many times in a day, right? So many hours and minutes in a day. And I'm actually going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on, just so you can see what it looks like. Because just because it looks like Lost Lagoon here, doesn't mean that's what it looks like when we put it on the blue, right? And let me show you a pretty peacock. I'm going to do the same thing. Like I said, I don't even worry about that I'm stamping on something else, right? Because it's going to be covered up. That's why I showed you, and that's why I showed you the measurements right here, because we're going to cover that up, so it doesn't matter. Now, it might to you, but I've learned from sewing, scrapbooking, and other things, it's going to be covered up, right? So there's stamp one, there's the stamp off, okay? So we're going to stamp it here once, so you can see the stamp off. And then when I do it onto the blue, that's what it's going to look like. And when I stamp off again, so you can see that this one's really not lighting up a whole lot. So actually, I'm going to use the other one because I don't want it to be the main color, right? I want it just to be a subtle background. I want the focus to be on the otters, right? Because you got some cute otters here, lovey-dovey looking. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to use the Lost Lagoon. The other color you could use, it's not really a color, right? Would be Versamark. Versamark's another one. It's clear, basically, right? But when you sit there and do it on paper, it looks different. Okay, so we're going to do the stamp off of this. And I'm just going to stamp some in the background, okay? So yes, we're going to cover this up, and so I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to cut. Okay. And I could have flipped color, right? There's another way we can do it. It's, now I'm at this. So you're looking at that going, wow, you've really like gone all over it. You know what? It's okay. Because the other thing is I can flip it over, right? So if you've seen me before, show you if you make a mistake or something, that you can easily just flip something over, right? So I'm just going to stamp some little bubbles, okay? Might look like they're creating the bubbles. Alright, so when I go to put this down, this is what you're going to get, right? Now, if you want to add something else later, you can. For right now, I'm just going to add this. So for me, this is what I would call a twofer, right? Because I'm going to give this person to this person as a card. And once they receive it and everything, you know, they're not going to get to throw it away or anything, because I'm going to take it and I'm going to frame it for them. Okay? So that's one. And then I want to do this one here. I just thought that was cute. I have one to put on the inside as well too. So I'm just going to set that there a second because we need a sentiment. Especially this is going to be a card. But even if we're making a gift, right, as a 3D project, because it's just easy to make, is that you can still stamp a sentiment and put it on your 3D project. Now I've done two things here. So we have two options. Just to show you the difference, this is 5/8 of an inch. And this is a half, so this is 4/8, right? So this is the difference of just 1/8 of an inch. Just to show you the difference, okay? So it's either we're gonna put it up. In fact, I'm thinking right here, or right here. Now I like the 1/2 inch better than I do this because I think this is too big. Again, if you're gonna put this here, that's what I would like to do. I want to put this here, and we put some gemstones in here too. I would like to put that there, just like it seems to go together. And we're just do there. So today it's just to teach you some, you know, really and truly, it's not trying to do anything heavy duty. It's just trying to show you some ways you can do things and how you can make the adjustments if you need to make them. All right. So I really like that the best. So now we got to stamp it. So we have two sentiments that I really like for this. One that says "Love you lots." The other is "We're cute together." So the "We're cute together," I think I would put on the inside of the card, and "Love you lots" is what I think on the outside. But it doesn't matter. We can stamp both and see what you like best. It's all about choices, right? I like choices. I don't like to feel like I have to do anything one way or the other. I like to know that I have choices. There's some cute little fish I could put in here too, but I didn't because I didn't know what color I wanted to do them. All right. So "We're cute together," which I'm just going to look here. So you can use the grid. Make sure the words are straight, right? Or you can actually put them on the grid. You know, sometimes we do things so long, we forget that, you know, I taught a class not too long ago, and, you know, it reminded me of the little things, right, that we just take for granted. So if you just use the grid here, so we have in the paper as well too. Now I'm going to do mine diagonally, but at least I know I didn't get it stretched out of shape or anything, right? So that I can stamp straight down on it. And I can even use the grid to do my stamping if I wanted to too, but I'm not. Okay, so we're going to use this. I really want the darker. Now again, we can try the color so you can see. Because we're using basic beige, right? So when we sit there, again, it doesn't matter if it's blue, it doesn't matter if it's basic beige, right? The bottom line is when you go and stamp on another color, it doesn't mean it's going to be the color that you see when you stamp on white. So I'm just going to stamp right there. It says we're queued together. And so one thing is to see how nice it is like there. So that's nice and long. When I go and do the other one, love you lots. And so I got another stamp on there, so I got to be careful how I do that, right? And I flip it over. It's not going to matter, right? Because all that's going to be hidden. So this one, the Y is going to come down a little bit longer on this side here than the other, right? So here's my options. I had this one here, love you lots, and could actually just put this right over here, which would work just nice too, right? Or, so Berger, maybe you can tell me, what do you think? We could do we're cute together. Right? We could do that too. We could do we're cute together. Now that'll have to go over just a little bit because I really want to put my two little ones right there. So I don't know. I can do either one, right? We're cute together, I think, on the inside. Or love you lots. I think because, you know what? I think, well, I love you lots. It's just fine there too, right? So the thing is, I could do either or. I think I'm going to go ahead and go against what I wasn't going to do begin with. And I'm going to put we're cute together. Because the person I'm going to give this to is we are cute together. We're too funny. Too funny. And I don't know about you, but I have actually seen otters in person in their natural environments up in Canada. There was actually an otter family. They were sea otters. They would hang out up in Victoria at a certain time of the year, or at least the time I was there anyway. So we're going to do this one here, and I'm just going to cut this off back here behind because it's going to be behind the other otters. So this is the 1/2 inch one. And my father-in-law didn't believe it. I had taken a bunch of photos because I ran into all kind of natural stuff. And he's like, you didn't see otters. I'm going, yeah, I saw a whole family of them. So I had taken a bunch of pictures. And he literally I had to send him the photos. He had to zoom it in on his computer. And finally admitted that I really did see otters. So that was too funny. All right, so we're just going to glue this down. So for me right now, right, it's like when you have an oops or something like this, it's like, well, I'm not throwing it away because number one, I put too much time into it. Number two, it's like, okay, it's just an opportunity for creativity. So what are you going to create with it? And I'm just going to put this one right here. I might have to trim it just a smidgen, even though I didn't want to, but actually, just a smidgen. I don't need a whole lot, right? I just need a little bit on the back side. So what I did when I cut this out, because it's sort of like, it's like somebody used a blending brush, right? But it's on paper. So I just sort of did my scissors, something like that, just to give it like you would a deckled circle or a deckled rectangle. It doesn't have a smooth edge, but it's at least an edge, right? And I'm just going to put it right there on the edge is what's going to happen. And if I have to trim it a little bit more, I will. We'll do it now versus later, because I really don't have time later, right? I'm too busy finishing projects. Getting cards out. Presents, got to get presents. I have presents already to wrap. Problem is the ones I don't have to even have. All right, so what I'm going to do here is we're going to put this on with a dimensional here. So you're going to have to visualize this framed, okay? So I actually have So the bottom part can be put up with dimensionals so it's the right height, right? And then the top part I can actually just glue down or leave it there. I have room to put one more dimensional right there. So I do, if I can, try to put as many as I can. Especially, you know, since it's going to be here. And it doesn't matter if you framed it. I framed stuff before with dimensionals. You can either do it with the plexiglass or plastic in front, or you can take it out and have nothing there, right? The only thing is dust will get collected on it. So that's the only thing. I'm just going to put this right here, okay? So what I did, we're cute together. We have the bling to add to this, and thought maybe we could add some of this, but I don't think it's going to work for us here. I can definitely add these, right? So when I sat there and made the other stuff, I just put them together like they were rocks. Right, so just bunched them together. And then I put some little ones right next to them too, right? Sort of like you got a bunch of different rocks together. I've actually did some like at an angle. And you can say, well, what about that? Well, if I'm giving it to a card or it's going to go out in an envelope, it'll be okay. If I'm going to put it in a 3D project, right, then I'll have to make sure to make allowances for that and adjustments for that. But I think if you're going to make it look like rocks, which this is what I want it to look like, just a pile of beautiful little rocks, I just sort of did them some diagonally there. And they'll stay. If it doesn't work for you, or you're not happy with the way it goes, then you know what? Just add some glue to it. Just add glue, all right? So I'm just going to sort of put these little spots right here, there, and yonder. So it reminds me of going to any kind of water. You know, you got rocks and everything. They're just everywhere. And Wink Castella never hurts. So I actually took Wink Castella, and we're just going to add it. Just gives it some little sparkle. Because every time I think about it, doesn't matter if I'm watching animals like I did the time before, they're in the water. So it's got like a little shimmer to it because they're wet, right? I don't have to color the animals with it, but I can definitely take all the other stuff. I can add some in here if I want to. Maybe like just the big rocks. So this just makes a cute, nice gift that you can give as a card. And then turn around and make it into a holiday decor, a home decor piece, right? So on the inside here, since I did and I knew the size I was going to do, let's see, that's 5.5. So I actually need to go down a little bit more, right? I need this actually to be a 5 by 5. So that's what we'll do. We'll just take it down. We're not going to start the small stuff. It's small stuff. That was my scorer thing that fell off. I think I've about decided I'm going to have one for scoring and one for paper cutting. And that way I don't have to worry about the different blades. Because I couldn't tell you how many times I've sat there and actually cut something that I was supposed to be scoring just by accident. So all I'm going to do is take this and flip it over right here. And then I can put a sentiment on the inside. And then I have one more set or pair of otters that I can put on the inside here too. So when I was busy hand cutting these and the ones I could die cut, I was thinking, man, they're so cute. All right, and where's that other little cute couple I had? Dumped them down on here somewhere when I was showing you. Well, when I find them, I'll put them back in here. So I've got another pair. So just like I had one here, there, and there's the 5 by 5. I'm just going to put this one over here, right? That's all I'm going to do. I can add anything else I want to add. So if I wanted to add any paper or any of the rocks, I could do that as well too. So I can easily have my card and stamp my sentiment on the inside, as well as, and I have the outside here. Okay, so keep in mind when I created this, this is 5.5 inches. So I made it into square deliberately because I can easily, like I show you, let me show you a piece of paper here so you can see how you can easily put this with a mat behind it, right? It's no different you go and get something matted. So if I want to take this card and end up matting it or doing anything else with it, all I would do is come and create a frame behind it, right? If I want it to be a 6 by 6. You have to imagine that it ends right here. It doesn't have to be that. It could be this paper here too. I just don't have a paper big enough right now. And that's actually, this is the one I was actually thinking of putting behind it. So, okay. So if you want to sit there and make it into a frame, you can either leave it as a card as it is, or you can just go ahead and put it down right there in the middle, or you can cut this edge off here and do it like this here. So just easy ways that you can sit there and go out and create, share, and give, right? And to make someone's day. So I hope you enjoyed it, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's about creating, sharing, and giving. And there's no better time than right now, this time of the year, during the holiday seasons for Christmas. And we have, Valentine's right around the corner, right? So with that, be blessed. Go out there, create, share, and give. And if you haven't finished your Christmas cards, get them done, because tomorrow's like the main deadline for most shipping and everything. December the 19th. So that means I got to get my packages and stuff in the mail tomorrow too. So I got a lot of stuff to do between now and tomorrow. So next week we will not be live, because next week will be Christmas Day. And we will not be live on January 1st because it's also on a Wednesday, all right? So I'll see you after the first of the year, except for those of you that are part of my adventure club. We will be getting together and creating the projects on December the 26th. Whoop, whoop. Other than that, have a blessed Christmas, a happy new year, and we want to thank you for supporting us not only here on Facebook, but also on YouTube and Instagram. Have an amazing day, an amazing week, and a wonderful holiday season. See you next year. Bye.